Hi everyone, this is John Wen. Today is January 9th, 2020. Happy New Year. In this video, I'm gonna briefly talk about what have been done in past few weeks. So from December 12th, 2019 till today, I mainly work on two items. And first one is to write the first paper with application. And second one is convert the PHP file in DataView to Java and JavaScript file. So let's get into the details. So for the first item, I'm trying to set up a deep learning workflow in DataView, and I'm able to successfully calling the TensorFlow Python program in CPU version. And I'm working on extension on the GPU version, and later we can use the data view to feed input data and save the output data and to do the further analysis. And second one is I completed moving the existing survey onto the Overleaf latex editor. I'm working on two charts that is to compare the existing the workflow management system algorithms, as well as later we'll work on a comparison chart as well to compare the existing platforms or scientific workflow platforms or systems. So that's a to-do list. So we can briefly go to the code, the Eclipse, and see the code. So here is a task of deep learning, and I use this deep learning task and to assemble a dummy workflow that to run the deep learning workflow in the data view. So here is a test.java that is able to trigger this deep learning workflow. And let's try and run this workflow, and then I will explain how it triggers. So firstly, let's run the test in a debug mode, and you can see it has dummy input file, but actually it does nothing currently, because the simple we can see there's some warnings because I'm using the TensorFlow 1.0 version code, because this is a code I write before. This is a minist CNN, so that's why we don't need to use the input data, because we've already have the input data from the TensorFlow as a minist data set. And let's go back to the task deep learning.java, and if we go on keep running and debugging, and here has a process.v4, because we knew a process to trigger this file, the minist cnn.py file, and then to start the process within the data view, and then we can trigger it. We may need to hold some time and until it has a result return. So let's go back and explain what it's doing in the minist cnn.py. So here has a code to import the TensorFlow 1.0 instead of currently, though I've already installed the TensorFlow 2.0, but I prefer to use the first one because the newest version will need us to convert the old code into align with the new structure or the new kind of way to use the TensorFlow 2.0. So that's how it works. We can see it successfully uses CPU support TensorFlow and to run this program, but we may need to hold for a while because it's running currently. If we check the task manager, we can see a python.exe file that's currently running. and occupies a lot of memory. So let me explain what is the problem of the GPU version while we wait for the CPU version to give out the result. And we can see from the task deep learning.java, I'm trying to use activate, because I use Anaconda to manage the different kind of environments, the Python environments for Python execution. So if we are using the command line, I can show you. Currently, you can see we're in the TensorFlow GPU environment, but I can let you see different environment I have. So basically, we will have the base and the CPU version and GPU version, and installation of this kind of, or creation of this kind of environment is very simple, and the installation TensorFlow or TensorFlow GPU version is also very easy. But the problem is that if we new a console, and so this console will be a brand new, we may need to wait for a while until the console get responded. Okay, so yeah, here we are, and if we use conda inf list, and we will see the you always start with a base version, and so if we are trying to use that means every time we start a prompt command, and we start from the base version conda, and if we want to use the GPU version, and we need to use the conda activate TensorFlow and GPU inf. So this will give us so you can see we are in the TensorFlow GPU version now. If we are running the Python code, the TensorFlow code, it will automatically use the GPU. That's because currently I'm in a lab, I don't have a GPU, but while I'm running at home, it can successfully trigger the GPU. So you can see now the CPU version has returned the result of every iterations, or every kind of every iterations, and it gives us accuracy and loss. And because I set a very low, let's see the code, the minist CNN, because I don't want to wait for a very long time, so I just set a kind of 400 iteration for now, and to test it. And we still get some errors about the testing line, because it cannot fit the shape to what we predefined. So that may be because we changed this iteration or something else. But that's not a big problem, and at least we have proved that the data view is able to run the TensorFlow code and successfully return some result, and we can save this result into a local file or something, and for the further use. And we can also feed input for later programs. For later TensorFlow program, we may feed the input from data view, and to do the pre-process for the data before feeding to the model. So that is what we think, and as well as we can do more things like the load existing model into data view, and to let it really use the already learned Python code. So that is the first part. I still keep work on the GPU version. And the second item, sub-item of this one is I'm moving the existing qualified survey onto the Overleaf latex editor. So if we take a look at the editor here, so you can see I've already put all the existing qualified survey onto this latex editor, and including all the reference are correct right now, and the graph and pictures are correct right now. And I also work on the charts. I believe it's around here. Yes, it's not completed yet, but I will spend some rest of time, maybe this week and next week, and to finish the two charts, comparison on the algorithm as well as comparison on the scientific workflow management system. So this is a first item. And the second one, to convert the PHP file in Java and JavaScript version. So I fixed all the getting element by ID method, and instead we are using the get element by identified names. And currently the drag and draw function is able to working fine, but while we execute the local workflow executor on a sample workflow, it still gets an error. Seems like it's a loading, class loading error, but actually we have already successfully download all the files, input files into the local environment. So maybe I still need to debug it with some time and to check what is the problem. So if we are going, I can show you how it works now, and maybe we can run into a debug version. Oh, sorry, it's not this one. And yes, for the you can see the python.exe has been successfully terminated, because in the first one we use after we wait for the process to run and then we destroy it. So that will be a cleaner version, cleaner work. We don't need to delete or end the process every time. So let's go back to the PHP file version, and let's go into debug mode of login.jsp. So you can see the Tomcat server is starting, and let me close this one, and soon we'll have a new login page show up in the website browser. So hold on for minutes. Okay, here we go, and let me log in with my account, and then you can see, though currently they are hard-coded, but later it will work successfully. I think it's I put it as a last part because I think parsing this code very should not be big problem if we cannot make other work, and then these parts of work will be in vain. So if we are drag and drawing these items into, and it can successfully go through, and if we run the workflow, and basically it takes two. So currently let me to choose whether I use a local version or the cloud version. So I choose the local version. You can see the pop-up, the file has been added, and firstly deleted and then added, because I can customize this one, and then it will upload this to the Dropbox and delete the old one. So currently I think I'm in the this one now. Let me try to debug. Oh, we still use a the previous deep learning workflow. So let me try it again. Let's go back to the debug mode and log in .jsp and successfully loading, and let's try it again. Another thing to mention is that we still have to wait for a while until we can drag it. So it's a downloading issue. The program is meant to download all the files or workflows into the local repository. So that takes some time until they are ready to be available. Okay, I'm successfully go to the Java code, and here is a breakpoint I set in the mediator.java, and in this function server run workflow, and I carefully debug all above. I think they are working fine, and currently it's just use the local table location, and I believe it's locating my local one local repository, and then we'll new let's go through it, and it will new workflow local and pass all the arguments into, like the file location. This location resides all the input files with my account, as well as a token and separator and global scheduler. This contains a local scheduler as well as tasks. So let's go through and dive in the execute method, and this one takes us to the execute method and go through all the global schedule. And basically I think these parts are working perfectly well, but then while we just run and join, start and join all the threads, we will encounter the issue. So basically, okay. So yeah, you can see I think we double wronged this part, but it doesn't matter. If we go through, and will give us an error about the no class def found error, and I still spend some time because this is a class file, .class file. So I think maybe I still need to debug this file as well, or few steps ahead, and in order to find out where was the problem. So I think it's pretty much the kind of progress so far. During the holiday, I was encounter some issue about the Eclipse corrupting, and everything suddenly stopped to work, like loading the login JSP, and a lot of issues. But overall, I installed the Eclipse totally and tried to reinstall and reconfigure all the things, and everything come back to work. So it takes some time and lower down a little bit the progress, but I think it still be good, and to nurse things together through trial and errors, and I think we are making progress. So I think that's a brief kind of updates for today's video. Thank you for your time, and hope you will have a very good Happy New Year, and until next time, happy coding.